So this is a little sneak peek at some new features I've been working on for Coachr. This is the Coachr you hopefully know and love. We've got our new matches we can start, where we can add players, we can review the lineup. It's a really handy match planning tool, especially when you want to see what different rotations are going to look like. And with the new match planning features, there's all sorts of stuff you can do, including diagramming out what defense you want to play, or offense, or how you're going to receive serve. But the new thing that we're going to be shipping kind of soon is this training session mode. So if we tap on that, it looks a lot like the new match mode. So we can go in here and say, imagine this is for the Docky Devils. The venue is going to be our home ground of Castle Park. Say we'll do this a little bit later today. So start at 1:15. Now from here, I can go in and either set up a tournament. If maybe I'm just running this in a training session and I want to be able to pair up players with other players very quickly, I can do that. Or if I'm setting up a tryout or even a training session where I just want to take stats, I can go in here and add player names. I can also select from previous rosters if I have them set up. I can also paste them in just like I can with the matches. In here, I can also choose to say, actually, this training session, I just want to focus on serving or passing or attacking or defense or any combo of those. But I'm going to enter in a few players. So imagine I'm going to have Anya as a player. She's an outside hitter. I don't have to list their position, but I can. If, for example, it's for like national team tryouts, you can say where they're coming from, club name, their date of birth, if you need that kind of thing. I'm going to choose auto check-in for now and just hit add player. Imagine I add another player here. Now these numbers could be numbers that you give them on bibs. They could be, if it's a training session, it could be the number that they wear for your team. So we'll add in another couple of players here. I'll have her listed as an opposite. These positions don't really matter that much when we're actually taking stats, because in a training session it's going to be a little bit different. But they might be useful for later when you're looking back over the training session and saying, okay, well, this is what we need for our club. Maybe we want to see them in a different position. So let's see. We'll just add a couple more players here. And let's see, we'll add so imagine that's what we've got for our training session today. Now I can choose to begin the session right away. I can go back and edit the session info, or I can choose to set up the tournament. You'll see that we have 8 players. Imagine instead of 4 courts, we're going to have 2. We want this little mini tournament to run for 30 minutes, and we're going to give them 5 minutes per round. And we'll have a look at what that means when we get to the actual session. So now we can begin the tournament, or we can go back and add new players if we want. In fact, maybe I'll go to my roster and pick some previous players. We'll add Addie in there. We'll add Alexia, Alex, and Lucia. We'll select those players. So now we have more, and in fact, I'm going to check them in. The check-in feature is just to maybe pre-fill in the attendees. And then you know who's actually showed up on the day. If we look back at the tournament, we see that now it's gone up to 12 players. We've got 2 courts, so maybe what I might do is change that to 3 players per team and begin the tournament. Now when we land on this, we're dropped into the stats section first. So we can choose all players, and this will give us a mode where we can keep stats on all of our players in a grid. This gets a little bit unwieldy, obviously. If you have a huge session and you're trying to keep track of everybody, you can't watch everything all at once. If you do wind up making a mistake, like I accidentally pushed a button there, I can hit this history button here and say, oh, yeah, actually, Angela didn't have a block there. We'll hit done. I can change the stats that are being shown. Maybe I want to just focus on serving today. This will make it a little bit easier because then I can have everybody on screen at once, nearly. And that'll affect the all stats view. If I want to stat by player, I can say, actually, we're going to focus on Anya and her passing or just the actions that she's performing. So maybe, all right, cool, we've got a 2 pass, we've got a 3 pass, another 2 pass. We've got an ace when she was back serving, an error. We can kind of keep track of her attacking stats. And you'll notice that we have another little tab bar here for players. So we can go into info. And this is where we see her number that we entered, her club name if we had done that. We can also keep notes down here. We can also go in and add measurements. So if you are working for the national team or something, this might be really useful. Or even if not, if we're doing this in our own club, you can keep track of their height, their standing reach, jump reach, block touch, all that fun stuff. Capture stats we saw. You might be looking in the tryout for more general skills that you want to evaluate them on. So we have the kind of hard skills here, like serving. So, okay, cool. We're getting a 3. Passing. Actually, they were killing it today. Setting, maybe not so much. Attacking, okay, great. Really hitting the ball well today. Defense, cool. That was out of this world. Blocking was, middle of the road. Maybe we weren't testing that today. And then we've also got this intangible section over here. So coachability, mental resilience, communication, athleticism, hustle, court sense, leadership. Again, feel free to add in suggestions for other metrics you want to evaluate players on. You can hit save or not. It'll automatically save after a few seconds of choosing some options there. Then you can also review stats for a player. So the notes bar is down below, but we can see kind of roughly how that player has performed in this session. If we go back to info, that'll give us an overview of the entire training session, including some of the stats gathered across all the players. So maybe it is a training session and we're trying to evaluate how our passing is getting better over time. This might be a really good place to have a look at that. You can also look at the tournament. So imagine we're now at the stage where we want to start the tournament. So we can go in here. Round 1 would kick off. Maybe we set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay, they scored a point. They scored a point. These guys are trading points back and forth. Over here, this team is taking off. And you can see as we get points, the leaderboard starts to change over here. If we go back to the stats, we'll see the same thing. And it's interesting because this bearing style tournament, once we end the round, say the 5 minutes is up, the next round starts, because the partners have changed a bit. And it's not going to be perfect necessarily all the time. We won't get everyone playing with absolutely everyone else in every possible combo. Sometimes that's impossible. There's just too many combos. But it'll give you a good idea of how players play with others. And also, it's just a fun way of kind of keeping track of, well, okay, cool. This is who we've got on the leaderboard right now. And it might be a nice way to foster a little bit of competition in the gym. So you keep going through the rounds. You can see that we generate, given the time that you had asked for, we generate the right-ish number of teams and pairings. And we said that we have 2 courts, so we can only get 2 matches going at once. When I say 2 courts here, it might be we're actually doing thin court bearing tournament stuff. For example, if we were in Castle Park, we could fit probably maybe 8 courts really ideally, because we'd split the 2 courts in half, maybe 6 courts if we decided to squeeze everybody into really thin courts. And then when you're done, you can hit end training. If you've added new players, you can end the session and save these players. Otherwise, you can just end the session if you don't want to save them. And then we go into the kind of read-only mode. So this is where we can kind of have a look back over our session. Obviously, I was only keeping stats for one player, so that's why we have our Athletes Unlimited leader here with Anya. And if I go back to the sidebar, we've now got a new section. So we've got the matches, and then we've got training as well. So you can go back and look at older training sessions. Just like before, we can also delete these. And we do have some new preferences to be able to group the matches. But really, the big focus with this new release is this new training session mode where we can go in and make sure we're keeping stats during our training sessions, trying to make it as easy as possible for us. And then also trying to help us in tryouts, just capturing information. I know I can't tell you how many notebooks and handwritten notes on printouts I have that wind up just getting lost, and then I've got to try to remember, who on earth was that player? So this is it. This is what's coming next for Coachr. We've also got some new designs for the stat analysis pages, so this will start to look even more polished. But this is what's coming up next.